the night patrol. K9 by my side, aching soul. Whip up a storm in the kitchen heat. Outsmart the game, never miss a beat. Green thumb in the dirt we grow. Friends with devil dog going toe to toe. Cooking meals fit for a king. Uniform strong, let them freedom ring. Police power, smart and fine. Heart of gold in every line. Serve with pride, protect and show. Life of honor, let it flow. Police power, smart and fine. Heart of gold in every line. Serve with pride, protect and show. Life of honor, let it flow. Patrol the beat around the block. Crime and chaos, we're the shock. Dogs loyal, love them true. Badge of courage, painted blue. Late night calls don't slow me down. In my garden, wear the crown. Cooking meals with flair and fun. The badge I wear, second to none. Police power, smart and fine. Heart of gold in every line. Serve with pride, protect and show. Life of honor, let it flow. Late night calls don't slow me down. In my garden, wear the crown. Cooking meals with flair and fun. The badge I wear, second to none. Police power, smart and fine. Heart of gold in every line. Serve with pride, protect and show. Life of honor, let it flow.
Hey, Peter. Good to see you, brother. Hey, I totally understand. I would love to have fiber optic out here. I don't think it's available at the moment. So, hey, California Ford. Good morning. Hey, I get it. You know, the fact is, how can I hold anybody else to a level of accountability, or why should I expect something else from somebody that I can't expect for myself? So, I appreciate that. Honestly, I do. You know, the fact is, it's kind of funny. On one hand, I'm going live on YouTube Police right now instead of Belt Loop 29, I guess, because, you know, well, ultimately, it's not like I guess I do have a goal, but it's just something to think about or focus on. For me, it's more about, I guess, being aware of it, if that makes any sense. That it's not like at this point I guess technically I'm working on trying to get it monetized, but I really don't know that I will. I had the opportunity to have it monetized before, but I didn't. It's just because I was burnt out on it. See, I'm looking at them. Good morning. See, been working. Let's do your stream. Wire is running my house. Just need them to come hook it up. Okay, cool. Hey, Najuma Brown. Good to see you, darling. It's one of those things where I guess you know, I'm aware of it. I don't really focus on it. It's not like a high priority, but it never hurts to, if at some point I decide I want to have it monetized, then uh, I won't have that whole uphill battle to go to, if that makes sense. Because one thing it takes for me, it seems to take a long time to gain watch hours, and watch hours don't just fall off trees. You don't just, at least for me. I mean, some people could probably do a video and just have it bam, go crazy. Doesn't happen with me. So, I guess it does give me an opportunity though to talk a little bit about, you know, uh, about setting realistic maybe expectations or something. Because even if you don't care about being monetized, and you want to do something on your channel, it never hurts to work towards a goal, whether it's just for fun. Because I would do a lot of experiments. In fact, Peter, who is in the chat right now, um, I got in touch with Peter. Well, I guess I've known him, I don't know, a couple of years, I think. But and take Jerry Butler over at Butler Family Farms. They were both kind enough to help me, and a few other folks were kind enough to help me with an experiment that I did. A lot of people will say that you have to watch 3 minutes of their thing before you hit the like and the subscribe button, or else YouTube will drop you from there. I got to tell you that I don't think there's a whole lot of rhyme or reason about why YouTube drops subscribers. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because with Jerry and with Butler Family Farm and with Old Man King Homestead, I actually went through and I contacted both of these people. I had been watching, Old Man King Homestead. I had never, at that point, I had never seen the. Hey, D, good to see you, darling. At that point, I had never seen any of Jerry's channel, but I saw him over in, I think it was the Vineyard Farmhouse, and when I did look up and found his email, and so I contacted him to see if he would help me in an experiment. Well, the experiment was me subbing to channels and then them subbing back, but never watching a video, to continue to look and see if we were still, connected. Well, we went through, and Jerry actually said, Jerry over Butler Family Farm says, okay, but going to your channel to subscribe to it, I don't, it looks like an interesting channel. When will I be able to watch that? I said, well, just whenever the end of the experiment. And so, but here's the thing, even though, by the way, this experiment ran for about 8 weeks. And in that time frame, there were about 15 different channels that I was subscribed to. Two for Old Man Kings, actually 3 for Old Man Kings, and 1 for Jerry Butler. And at the end of that, every subscription that I made with, was stuck except for 2. And the two that were not still connected were 2 I could not find their channel to begin with. I had to have somebody send me a link, which brings up an interesting point. Does YouTube actually hide channels? Because I could not search for those. But if you can search for a channel and you can actually find it in their under the search engine on YouTube. Every one of those stuck, but not a single. But the two that Peter sent me had not stuck. So from that perspective, it was kind of obvious, I guess, at that point that even though I had never watched any of those channels, they had never watched any of my stuff. And hey, Kyle, how's it going? Every one of those connections were still there, both from their part and from mine. So, but here's the question: should you watch your stuff? Yes, obviously. Not because they say it when, hey, JCT, good to see you. Not because you're trying to make sure to ensure, not from the motivation that you're trying to make sure that the connection sticks for that person, but because the fact you really want to find out if that person's stuff, their videos are interesting. Because let's face it, a lot of times we do watch stuff that, all right, for example, I know I found my stuff watching videos on things that I really wasn't interested in, had no interest whatsoever. And I'll give you an example. I do watch a lot of, or I have watched or played a lot of, for example, crafting, like maybe quilting or crochet, that type of stuff. I have no interest in the subject matter, but I have interest in the people, if that makes sense. I try to support my friends in whatever they do now, and I do try, when I turn something on, I let it run through. I try to. Now, live streams these days, I'm doing a lot more in the way of live streams. I'm also watching a lot more in the way of live streams. So typically with that, a lot of times you're going to find a lot of different things going on with live streams, a lot of different conversations, a completely different style of people. Videos tend to, I guess it's one of the reasons why at the nail salon. Oh, cool. I had my nails did once, just once, and that was when I was getting ready to go into the police academy. Because they say they look at every aspect, and they do. Let's see. Does that apply to shorts too? Yeah, more or less. I mean, I watch shorts of people that I like. But if I do, watch, I mean, I'll go to people's channels just say hello. But most of the time these days, I just go to the channel and find whatever's there. I don't do a whole lot of stuff through, I don't watch a whole lot of shorts. Here's the thing. All right. When you go somebody's channel, let's see, because I'm just curious. I'm just wondering, hey, that's why you ask questions. You ask questions to find out information. I get that. But here's the thing. All right. I also believe that if you're trying to help a friend, if you're trying to help somebody out, some people will click on something and watch a few seconds of it, make a comment, and leave. All right. I don't doubt that whatsoever. I used to have somebody, I hadn't seen them in a while, but it was rather obvious that every time they came in, they'd watch a few seconds. The comments never had anything to do, which is still subbed to one of those channels since December 2022. That's funny. I would be surprised if I was the other two, because I had to search for them to begin with, and you had to send me links on those, Peter, on two of them. It kind of surprised me that I'm still connected to one of them. And that was probably the one that I searched and found. But if you go to somebody's channel, and I would now, because of the fact I have a tendency to let it play all the way through, I typically look for shorter videos. After all, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help folks, and since I do tend to let it run all the way through, then it's maybe I ought to rename this instead of Popo Pop Up. You know, my line of thoughts, or how you can help other folks. I don't know, but the thing is, though, this person would click on any and all of them, I guess. And I ain't mentioning any names. Yeah, I still consider them good people, but they just doing what they're trying to do. They're trying to help. The thing is, when you only watch a video for a few seconds, if it's a 3-minute video, you only watch a few seconds of it, make a comment, and leave. That really doesn't help. In fact, it hurts the algorithm, because it's saying that video is not, it's not going to be of interest. So that may be a good thing, I guess, depending on the content. Let me share a few other pearls of wisdom that I've got. If you're designing a video, I guess the main thing, first of all, I've never scripted a video or a live stream in my life. I tried to make some bullet points one time. That didn't work out very well. Didn't flow real well. So short subject, getting a lot of attention lately. Well, here's the thing. Kyle. When you're doing the way the algorithm works, the more people that have your content and their watch history, the more likely it is to show you their content. So they don't. It's not like they go all in. YouTube doesn't go all in typically on showing you anybody's content that's a small channel. They just don't. If you think about it from a priority view standpoint, if they're selling people's attention. That's why the service is free. You are what's being sold. Your attention, my attention, everybody that uses YouTube's attention. I know people that YouTube that don't really they don't watch YouTube really. Let's see, topic we were talking about. It's all good. Well, see, here's the thing. From a standpoint of being or trying to create a successful YouTube channel, the thing about that is, it does small tests on when you create a video and upload that content. It looks at what's on there, and it does like a small what do they call? Hey Des, how you doing, darling? Good to see you. It does like a small what do they call that when they get a group of folks together to look at a particular product? They will go through and they will send out a small sampling of it to see who's interested. Now, there's going to be a lot of factors on whether or not people click on that, one of which is going to be the title. Another is going to be the thumbnail. Does it look interesting? Does it prompt people to go through and click on it? All right. So let's say that you had focus groups. Thank you, Des. I appreciate that. It does what you might consider like a focus group. It sends out the video to a couple different folks, see who clicks on it. All right. Now, then it's going to look at how long is that being watched. Remember, they make money from advertisements. So the more likely somebody is to watch something, the more they watch through it, the more advertising they're going to get, right? Means the more money they're going to get paid. Again, they're selling your attention, my attention. That's why it's free. All these social media things, that's how they make money, off of advertisements. And you are what's being sold, your attention. So when they go through and they do this focus group, either there's a little bit of interest or there's a lot of interest. It's going to vary depending on what an average is of how long the video is being viewed. How excited is somebody to click on it? Now, what happens though is everybody that does click on it, then then unless you've paused or cleared your watch history, then it will go through and it will your video is in their watch history. I don't know if y'all have ever bothered looking in your watch history, but it's in, they've got videos in there. Well, guess what? Every one of those videos that you clicked on, you're more likely to see some of their stuff. So, well, welcome back, Kyle. All right. So you become a focus group, I guess, to some degree. So they're going to go through and, the next time they go through and you upload a video, then it's going to test that with that person that clicked on your last video or one of your videos. They may click on it, they may not, but that's going to help direct them in who they're going to show it to. One thing I have noticed is that I have gone to one of the things I mainly do these days is live streaming. I watch live streams. It's easier for me because I don't have to plan it out. I'm not good at planning anyhow. My wife's the planner in our group, and between me and her, she's the one that thinks ahead. I just kind of wing most things. But the thing is, every time somebody else watches my stuff or your stuff or anybody, it's going to show them things of yours will pop up in their feed from time to time. Now, if they're continually watching it, it's going to continue to pop up in their thing. All right, let's say you have a niche, whatever you want to call it. Well, what it's going to do then is it's going to try to fit you into a stereotype, I guess. Or, for example, if they do have, let's say you made a video about how to make a Coney Island dog, as a hot dog. Well, guess what? And that particular one, there was a lot of interest. Maybe that was a particularly good video for you. It's going to show that to, more and more people. The more people that watch it, the more, and it's going to create more expectation. They're going to push that. Well, what happens if your next video is about cutting grass? Well, it'll show it to those people that were interested in your hot dog video, but if they're not interested also in cutting grass, they're not going to watch it. Well, what does that do to your channel? Well, it has a tendency to say, well, that confuses them. I don't know if it confuses them, but it points out the fact that you don't have a broad interest in your content. But let's say that you go through and you did another hot dog video and you put that out there. I do too. I do. And so there's no telling what it's going to point on me. It does get stuck on a couple of things. And I don't, because if I do watch videos these days, a lot of times it's about subjects that I find interesting. I find, World War II, historical video, stuff on history. Those are the things that I actually enjoy watching. Although I don't watch many of them these days, occasionally. Anyhow, that's what they do. And if the more you do on hot dogs in that situation, the more it's going to share you out, because you had this one that's popular. You picked a lane and it's focused primarily on that. Well, guess what? the videos that I do, they can be about anything. You know, when I was doing dad jokes, those were very well received, and they, trouble is I run out of dad jokes. The I do on this channel, I do a lot of personalized car tags, and so I find them interesting, and there I see them all the time. So that's what I do. I don't know. I don't guess I have. Hey, Shawnee Groves, good to see you. Shawnee Groves, I'm starting to see her everywhere, and there's a reason for that. The fact is that we were talking about the focus groups and about that's a mouthful. My thought just keeps running, but I started to talk about something a minute ago and just I missed it. I got chased that squirrel and didn't go keep going with it. There is a channel out there, Mayhem and Miracles. All right. Mayhem and Miracles. When I first started, we were talking about how usually when you put out a video, it kind of does like a focus group. It shows that thumbnail and the title to people, and if they're interested, some people will click on it. Mayhem and Miracles. When I first started going to Mayhem and Miracles, there was nobody in there that I knew. It does push it out for clicks. It's looking for people. It's trying to market your video. So what's up, Brutal Bob? Good to see you, brother. I was going to Mayhem and Miracles. Nobody that I knew was going in there. But the more I started going to it, and I started going there several times. I guess I was kind of interested to see if they would, because at first, I'll be honest with you, she does a really good job these days of trying to help other channels share out links and that type of thing. But at the time, she certainly wasn't showing mine out. I like Masha. All right. She's another Canadian. Not that has anything to do with it, but she's just trying to do basically the same thing I am. And initially, I didn't get a really good response, but I kept showing up. And soon I started seeing another person that I knew in there. Then a little while later, it started, I saw another one that I knew in there. So what I believe happens with YouTube is when they see that I'm going in there, not me specifically, but anybody, when they see that you go in there, it's going to start showing out. It's going to start showing those thumbnails to other people that you hang out with, other people that watch the same things you do. It's one of the reasons why I tend to show up and check out new live streams on very regularly, almost on a daily thing. I still go to a lot of the live streams, but if I spend an hour in somebody's live stream yesterday and they're live again today, well, if I'm looking at a thing where I've got two live streams, this one I spent an hour in yesterday, this one I haven't seen before. I may go into this one and watch a few minutes, hit the like button. I try to hit the like button when I go in, but the chances of me going over to hear this one, are much higher because of the fact that I'm trying to continually bring people. Yes, it does. And people become curious, and a lot of times they'll be trying to build their own community. So they'll check out your channel too. So, and by doing that, it helps not only my channel out, but those other people around me. So it has a larger purpose, I guess you'd say. So anyhow, I just woke up a little bit ago. I did have my first cup of coffee, and I went looking. And now, what do I look for in a live stream to go to? Well, I'll be honest with you. Normally, I look at whether or not they have a panel. I look at when I go in there. I also look at whether or not they have mods. Do they have a lot of mods? Do they have a few mods? One of the things that is really helpful, I think, is, well, there's a few things that kind of help you grow your channel and grow your community. The thing is, when you grow your community, you're growing, you're growing you're helping other folks while you're at it. But some of the things that will help you do that, if you go through and you find yourself as a mod for somebody, make it a point to drop links, even if just about everybody in there is a mod already, and if they wanted to, they could go to your channel, check it out. They may not. Maybe they're focused on the content. Maybe they're focused on the conversation. So I would say, if you are a mod, drop other people's links. Do more for somebody else. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's a biblical principle, the golden rule. But it also helps you, and it helps your friends out as well. Just by showing up and supporting. Man, I got off track there. What do I look for? I look for, I want to see at least 10 people in the chat. Let's see. Let me see where wait till that pops up so I can highlight that, Shawnee. Says, I went to a new live last night. There were 600 people watching a rat trap cam in a building. Well, here's something else I would suggest, Shawnee. If that's something that interests you, I'd say go for it. But typically, I'm not going to spend a lot of time watching a rat trap in a building. And besides, the other problem that you run into, if there's 600 people in there, it's probably not going to be one that other people are going to connect with other people in the stream typically. The only way to really kind of do that, yeah. Well, Shawnee, I don't know that I would be so quick to, yes, that's exactly right. People aren't going to even, a lot of times in those, they are not going to acknowledge you. 600 people, chat was flying. And it's hard to get noticed on that. Exactly. So I'm not going to go into, and you know what? Typically your larger channels, they're going to have a lot of folks. And so unless you're willing to put in the time to be in there consistently over a period of time, they're not going to notice you. And even then you need to type pretty quickly and be able to get, well, I think a lot of it is related to whether or not they find you entertaining, I guess. But ultimately, I'm not going into also by the same standard. If it says there's one person in there, I may go in there just to try and help that person out. Working in and out. Hey, that's cool. I appreciate that, Dave. I like to go typically to one that has between 8, 10 and the below 40 really is what I look for. Now I go into some that are every now and then. Let's see. Des says, totally understand. I stayed home. Me and Serena went to the cottage. And Serena went to the cottage. I got that now. Let's see. I have the number from last night. I'll sell you. LOL. That's funny. But listening. Okay, you're good. You're good, D. I appreciate your support. Um, I do think that going into it, especially a smaller channel, does a couple of things. First of all, it tends to help those individuals more with watch hours. And there are sometimes I go into something into a live that only has 2 or 3. Hmm. That's an interesting question. I do that. I have gone into. It's funny that you would notice that. Squirrel. Good to see you, Squirrel. That reminds me, Squirrel, you working on watch hours, ain't you, brother? Trump said, good to see you. I do chase squirrels all the time. Always a pleasure to see you. But a lot of times you go into, I go into, I do, if I see a live that has 28 or it has 29, believe it or not, I take 29. All right, I'm going to say this tongue in cheek. It's kind of a joke. But if I see somebody with 29, people in there, I will go in, And, well, I'll tell you what, Squirrel, let's go through real quick. And while I'm doing this live stream, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and go over to your channel, and I'll put it on something. I watched some on yours recently the other day. Let me find. Let's see, fishing. All right, here we go. Hang on, y'all. Y'all give me just a second. All right, live streams, shorts playlist. All right, let's see what we got here. Here's one mail call shout out 85. Squirrel, which is your longest? What is your longest playlist? I want to put that on whatever's on. That reminds me, help other people out. Help others help you. If you're working on watch hours, make sure that you have one really long playlist. That way, they can put it on there, set it, and have it playing while they're, either at the computer or doing the laundry or doing dishes or whatever. They can multitask. The live stream is the long. Okay, I'm gonna put it on the live streams. All right, live stream with Stephen and Joseph. There's one. I reckon we'll play that one. All right, and then when you do that, make sure that you have the volume on. I typically turn it down just because. Let's see. Hang on. Let me move that to it. All right. I'll get that up and play in Squirrel. I think I watched a lot of those on one of them the other day, but I don't know if it was that one.
Hello, Moto.
Hang on, Tammy's calling. Hey, Tammy. I got you on speaker. I am doing a live stream at the moment. So what's up?
Okay.
Well, you got anything you need?
No, I was just calling to chit chat. I'll talk to you later.
All right, love you, babe.
Love you.
All right, bye. Anyhow, getting back to what I was saying. Oh, no problem, Squirrel. My pleasure. And I'll let that run probably at least as long as I'm here today. I may let it run even longer. So I may pause it. Hey, Travel and Special Abilities. Good to see you. But try to help other folks out. But here's the problem. This could be a problem. And it's something you have to consider. Uh, if you go through and you start playing somebody's playlist, all right, well, those videos are going to end up in your watch history. And regardless of whether you find it interesting content or not, it's going to keep recommending that stuff to you. So while that's not an issue for me, because I typically look for the live streams anyhow, if they have a lot of live streams, that gives you something to do, something to, to keep your interest. But let's see. If you watch a lot of different ones, though, it's gonna focus more on live streams at that point, and that's probably a good thing for a lot of people if they like live streams. And so here's the thing, when you do live streams, though, it's rare to have them rewatched or have somebody watch it again. I mean, how many times have you done a live stream and that's never going to be one typically that is going to gain a lot of traction? It's not going to become an evergreen video typically. I do have a couple of what I consider evergreen videos, things that people do tend to watch over and over again, that have got thousands of views. Not like huge. It's not what I would call what's it called when everybody's trending. It's not going to be one that goes viral. That's the word I'm looking for. It's typically, those aren't going to go viral, but you will have people play them when they're trying to help you out with watch hours. A viral video, I know of at least 2 or 3 that people tend to watch on my channel. One of which is the tomato taste test. It's like a 20-minute video. But people watch that all the time because I've got like 5 different types of tomatoes. And guess what? If you're trying to decide what type of tomatoes you want to grow this year, you may watch that because you want other people's opinions on which are better. Let's see, do more live streams that will help with watch hours. Yes, Squirrel, that's what gets you watch hours, because people like the interaction. Guess what? There's no interaction, when you watch an old live stream. Just thank you, Dee. I appreciate that. That helps everybody out. It kind of goes back to what I was talking about, though. A video, tomato taste test, how to keep deer out of your garden, and cultivator review. The Ryobi brushless cultivator review are 3 things that people watch of mine every year, and that usually starts heavier in the spring once gardening season hits, and it'll run through through most of the summer and into the fall. But nobody, wintertime, people aren't thinking about gardening, so they're not, that's not something that they're going to, watch. But they will watch that over and over again. That's as a video. Now, they're not going to do that with a live stream. See, waiting on Dez's comment to come up so I can tag it. I swear I hate waiting, but here it is. As far as the people that I hang out with, Squirrel, the ones that's monetized, myself, Devil Dog, every one of them, got their watch hours mostly from live streams. But I will also say this, that the videos are the ones people are more likely to watch again. And so one thing you can do is you can go through it if you make other content. Now, I don't think the shorts are going to be one that tend to go and go and go. But if you have a longer format video, areas of tomatoes. I can grow, tomatoes in New England, but can't even get one plant to do well. Um, Even buying the breeds for Texas. Well, okay, hang on. Travel and special village. Don't expect a tomato from Texas to do well in New England. Um, what you probably ought to do, um, and understand uh, there's a big difference in tomatoes from Texas and tomatoes up in New England. New England has a much shorter. Um, I'll tell you what, hang on. Let me show you. Let me show you why. Uh, let's see, move to a new window. I'm gonna show you something. All right, maybe this will help you. And it's probably something you just hadn't thought about. All right, all right, here we go. All right, and let me change this up right there. All right, put this on Google. All right, what state is New England an actual state? Let's say Boston. Um, what is the average? Uh, how many? What is it called? Gardening days. Days is in the growing season in Boston. I don't know why my fingers ain't wanting to work. All right, weather more accurately dates Massachusetts on approximately 150 days. And all right, let's ask it about Dayton, Texas. All right, 250 days. There's 100 days difference there. I could grow Texas tomatoes in Texas. Well, you see the difference there. All right. In Boston, there's a 150-day growing season. In Texas, you got 250 days. That's 100 days more. All right. Uh, how long does let's see, when typical uh, days needed for determinate tomatoes to produce? All right, it takes 2 to 4 weeks for a determinate tomato. But what a determinate tomato does is it will go through and it will make all their stuff. All right, in a determinate tomato, what happens is it will go through and it will show. It'll all become ready within a 2 to 3 week period. Um, your harvest time is within 2 to 4 weeks. But when you're looking at a indeterminate, which is a lot of times what they grow in the South, the reason for that is an indeterminate tomato will continue to produce tomatoes. So you have a much longer growing season with those, and okay, then you might want to grow a. I thought you were saying something about in New England, but an indeterminate tomato will grow for a longer period of time. For example, a black crown. All right, so there's a few things you really want to focus on. One of which is in the South, I would probably grow an indeterminate tomato. If it were me, and I'm looking at it right now on what to grow and when to grow it. Well, it's time. You don't There's two ways of doing it. You can go through and you can grow from starts, or you can grow from seed. If you're trying to, all right, squirrel, I might have to pause that. It's a little, loud. Hang on. Let me see if I can get the volume a little lower, because I do want it to run. I just don't want it. There we go. Maybe that'll work. It's a little. I'll have to play that in a few minutes. I've got it started. I've got it on the playlist. I'm gonna let it run after the live stream. But I've got it started. All right, with an indeterminate tomato determinate, an indeterminate is going to continue to produce all season. So, not grow Texas tomatoes in Texas. Okay. Something else you may want to look at is, and I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of factors in growing tomatoes. Tomatoes want to continue. Hey, Devil Dog. There's a lot of things with tomatoes. First, you can just put them out there and let them run. All right. If it's some tomatoes probably do okay. Some of them are going to require the right nutrition at the right time. There's this thing called NKP, whatever, that has tried both starts and seeds, gurney seeds. Well, I tell you what, can you come up on panel? It's easier to talk and find out what's going on by, having you up here. Hey, Jamie, how you doing? Starts, you don't have to worry about, there's things that can go wrong, including, you can get fungus on them, or bacterial on the soil if you keep them too wet. So it is easier to start from. It is easier to start from starts. Somebody else started it, got it through the the tender starting out part, and they're hardier at that point. At that point, you just need to make sure it has the right thing at the right time. They have phosphorus, not nitrogen, phosphorus, and what is it? Okay. Well, I'm having a brain fart. Does NKP stand for? Nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. All right, these are three essential plant nutrients. Nitrogen results typically in your plant growth. Your potassium helps the blooms start, and the phosphorus, I think, is generally for root and I have the flu, nonstop coughing. Okay, well, I understand. I appreciate that. But that will be helpful for the phosphorus typically is for all around growth, if I'm remembering correctly, of course. But the truth is, in the early on, you may want more nitrogen because that promotes the upward growth, the leaves and what have you grow. But when you're ready for blooming, then you want the potassium, more of an even one, as far as more of a balanced fertilizer. So what you want to do at that point is you want to make sure it's less nitrogen than you were giving it. Now, you can make vermicompost tea. By the way, Tammy's going to be at the Operation Rendezvous 3. She will be going through and showing you how to start a worm farm or a worm bin. And worm castings, it's just a fancy word for poop. You can turn that into, I guess you could just throw it on top of the, around the base of the plant and it'd be okay. But if you wanted to maximize the potential there, you can make what's known as a vermicompost or a worm casting tea and feed those with it. You can literally do that every day. It's gentle enough to do that and to make sure it has, nutrition for the tomato. One thing about a tomato, though, also is that a tomato, the entire length of the vine, will develop roots if it's touching the ground. That leads to another possibility. When you're putting it in the ground, if you have a fairly tall, plant, and see, if you have a fairly tall plant, you can literally bend the stalk a little bit and bury more of the vine, and that will grow and develop roots so that you have a really good root system with it, which is only going to help. But you also have to make sure that if you've got a good root system and it's growing up well, what you need to do is make sure that it has the flowers before it starts getting too hot. Because once it reaches about 95 degrees, the temperature will sterilize the pollen, and it doesn't matter how many flowers you got on it; it's not going to develop into tomatoes. Been 6 since January. Oh wow, there is a lot of sickness going on out there. I know Des has been under the weather. Obviously, we got traveling special abilities, JCT, other folks as well. I see it everywhere I go. Anyhow, if you can get a good root system and you make sure that it has the nutrition it needs when it's time to start developing flowers, something you can increase the efficiency of those flowers is to go through, and I go through and I tap, I just take a finger and tap it. Tap the tomato plant so that pollen will fertilize, because it is self-fertile. You don't have to have, excuse me, you don't have to have 2 tomato plants for it to grow tomatoes. But if you just tap the plant, it will increase your germination rate. Well, it's not germination because that's the seed growing, but it will increase your productivity of your tomatoes. One other thing to be aware of, you have to have enough calcium in the soil, or you're going to develop what's known as blossom end rot, and you don't want that. It's really a long process. It takes a while, but if you want better tasting tomatoes, you grow them yourself. I can't tell you how many hundreds, if not thousands, of videos I've watched on growing tomatoes. Hey, it's something I'm interested in. I just find it extremely intriguing to make sure that you have. Anyhow, if you want to do a video on it, do the research for it. In fact, what I would suggest, to be honest with you, traveling, is to do the research to do a video on it. And you could even show your journey with growing a tomato. So that would be something that would help you learn about it as you do it. You love fresh tomatoes? I do too. And the thing about it is, those tomatoes in the grocery store, they weren't picked for taste. They were picked for longevity and shelf life. So, and it is a skill. Gardening is a skill. Now, there is knowledge you can gain from watching videos, but the knowledge is not necessarily skill. What you do with that knowledge is you go out and put it in practice. And I got a gnat flying around me. Sorry. But, develop the skill, by doing it. The more you do it, and when you run into something, an issue or problem, well, then you go through and study up on that. see how to fix it. One of the things I can tell you, I guess maybe I ought to put out a video containing a lot of information about it. I think I've got some about it, but it's by no it ain't exhaustive, you know. And pruning, another thing you can do with a indeterminate is make sure that you trim the lower part of it so that the splashback from the soil doesn't get onto the leaves and cause fungus, or, you know, you want a healthy plant. In fact, I built what is known as the Great Expectations trellis. It's like 10 foot up in the air, and I put, you know, wrap mine around. Hey, Joe, fix it for you. Good to see you. Hang on, let me get add as a moderator. Hey, Joe, check out anybody you want in here. You can go through and on an indeterminate have it grow up, and hey, I was expecting them to get about 10 foot. The only trouble is Tammy thought I was watering them. I thought she was watering them. I started out watering them. She started out watering them. We were growing in containers at that point on the trellis rather than in the ground. The problem that you run into with every way you do it creates a different set of circumstances and things to look at. So in container gardening, one of the main things you need to worry with is making sure they're hydrated, that they have enough water in the, you know, to keep the roots. You don't want them drowned, but you don't want them, you know, dry either. So the way to know if you've got enough water in there, stick your finger down in the soil about 2 inches to the second knuckle, more or less. And when it comes out, is it wet, or is it just kind of sandy or dry, gritty? The thing with a container gardening, it tends to dry out quicker than in the ground. So and I always bury mine fairly deep if I can. I'm gonna wait for them to get a couple feet tall, trim off the leaves on the bottom, and then plant it deep. That way it'll have the ability to develop a good root system. This is kind of scatterbrained on all this. All this is related to growing tomatoes, but it's hey, I think the first year I started gardening, we probably put out at least 100 tomato plants. And part of that was because everybody likes tomatoes, and it wasn't just me bringing tomato, you know, plants out there to plant. It was my brother, my cousin, everybody would, and then, both my brothers were bringing out tomato plants. I think my parents may even brought some out. But at that time, we had more people helping with the garden. That garden was like 5,600 square feet. The next year, hardly anybody helped with it. And so it just I became too far behind. I couldn't get enough stuff planted when they're supposed to, and that hinders development. The first year of the garden was, man, it was impressive. But hey, Lisa MH, good to see you. The Lisa MH, is a good channel. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Lisa. Hang on, let me highlight her. She's saying hello to everybody. And unless I'm mistaken, you're out in California, ain't you, Lisa? I think that's right. Of course, I'm trying to put myself on the spot like that. I make mistakes. I once had somebody come in and ask me if I knew somebody, a particular channel, and it was fairly new in Oklahoma. My bad. Well, now I know. I guess it was, didn't I see a video of you, showing, well, that may have been, you might have been visiting. I remember the reason why I thought you was in California is seeing you watch those what was those stars on the thing over in outside the Grauman's Chinese restaurant? That threw me off. I wasn't sure where you was from, but that made me think you were out there. And I'm back in LA March. Okay. Well, I was some kind of right, sort of. All present recorded. There we go. By the way, y'all make sure y'all say something in chat so that you're visible. Not everybody is visible when they hadn't said something for a few minutes. Back in LA March. But that proves my point that there's good people everywhere. There are good people in California, in New York City, in Oklahoma, in Mississippi, in Alabama. A lot of states get a bad reputation for one reason or another. But hey, just understand that there's good people and bad people in every walk of life, and every ethnicity, and every gender, and every, both genders. I'm not one of these that's going to say, you should recognize somebody that thinks they're a cat. Just ain't what I believe. And the First Amendment says I have the right to say that. So anyhow, and I am a believer in the Constitution. Anyhow, but I respect the fact they got the right to do whatever they want. But you can't make me believe that's normal. Just saying. That took a little bit of a turn there, didn't it? Yep. Anyhow, back to I don't know what to talk about. I guess we could look at what's in the news, see what's going on. Let's see what news stories is out there. Here we go. News. Since ain't nobody joining me on the panel, I don't know what else to talk about. It's really more of a one-sided conversation, I guess. All right, Des, appreciate you showing up. We ain't talking about nothing political, though. Not trying to. Let's see what's going on. Top stories. Tariffs, White House, CNN updates on, all right. They seem to be Trump, Cruz, recover more victims. And I don't typically watch the news. I tell you what, I don't want to watch the news either. Let's go over to YouTube and see what's going on. For some reason, it has saved Milk and Honey. Let me go to their channel and drop their link. I mean, I've been watching them anyhow. Probably recently. And it's a good channel to watch. But let's go and just see what's out there right now. Now, one thing you're going to notice, at least when I go to my subscriptions, Mosh is live. You've been thunderstruck. I don't really know much about this channel. I guess it's because I have yet to go into, I'm subscribed to them. I'm not sure how I became subscribed to them, but I'm not really into these puzzles. And as far as I can tell, every time I've seen that live stream, they've been doing that. Groundhog Day expert shares top predictions for 2025. Well, I heard Phil the Groundhog. Although that is one that, because it's 13 subscribers, or 13 people watching, it's very possible that would be something I would go and watch. Now that's 320. I might go in there busting scammers just for interest, but there's no way I'm going in there with 320 people watching to try and grow the community. This playing Fortnite 5. I might go in there from time to time to try and support really a small channel. This is one that has no. Let's check that out for just a second. Let me mute it. Although I don't reckon y'all can see it anyhow. Looks like they got, what is that? It says snake, but that looks like a, that's not a snake. I don't think. I think that's more of a eel. At least that's what it looks like. Either that or they put a snake in their. That's not something I care to watch. Benny Johnson, Breaking Mexico surrenders to Trump. 7 days to die building a base. I don't know anything about that. True crime. Now that is something. If you're looking for, if you have an interest in that, that if you look at it, 32 people in there. The chat's probably going to be slow enough to where you can, it's going to be faster than one with 5. Backyard trucker. I'm going to stop in there for a second and say hello. Popcorn Planet, 13,000 people. There's no way you're going to catch me in there. Desert Adventures in Arizona. Let's go say hey. I'm going to hit the like. And I will say sup. It says remember to keep comments respectful. Follow our community guidelines. All right. I'm just going to put sup at Desert. I'm going to tell them just stopping by to say sup and hit the like button. Also showing your channel to some folks. Can't stay. All right. And it's just mentioned that way. At least they see your name. And he may not see your name. Either way, that's okay. He's got 26 people in there. Let's go back to maybe subscriptions. All right. You'll notice that on mine, because I go to live stream so much, they list all the lives first. Curso has 4 people. Some of these, I get Popcorn Planet. I don't know. That's a lot of people watching. Now, I'm not saying that person is, but I do know some people hire bots to go through and watch their channel so that it sees more people there. Let's go say hey to Masha. Masha's also interesting in that with hers. Watch this. All right, I'm going to auto-complete it, but with hers, you have to put a space in there first. Sometimes I have trouble auto-completing just because I'm just going to say hello. I did hit the like button. Some love for the channel. All right. Because there's 27 likes, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to change it over to, I'm going to hit 28.
Hello, Moto.
Hey, babe, hang on.
Hey, would you put me on speaker?
Yeah, hang on just a second. I can't hear you, though. Hang on, I got something I'm doing. I'm on 28, 29 there. I had the 29th live. All right, anyhow. I guess I ought to end this, so we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.